back to the Nerdy Neighborhood, and welcome back to your Friendly Neighborhood Comic Show. Of course, I'm your host, Lauren, your Friendly Neighborhood Bi, and today I'm joined by comic creator Christian Douglas, but also known as Christian PUNKDROID Overlord. Obviously, I need to get the title right. Obviously, you guys have a killer Kickstarter going on right this second called PUNKDROID, and I'm so excited to hear about it. Thank you so much for joining me today on here.
No, we're greatly appreciated. We're very thankful that you guys give us the space and the moment in your wonderful podcast to talk about your audience about the project.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole idea is as I was mentioning before we started to record, that is 92%. I'm gonna tell you exactly because it changes a lot.
It's hard running a campaign.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I remember that yesterday we were doing a podcast with a guest. Now we have like a big name that's involved in the book. And as he was speaking, you see the people. Oh yeah, David's doing this. So jing. So it was fantastic. So we're 94% in. With like $500 to go or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you see 500 something, right? 560. Let me see. Yeah. 510.
Yeah, it's about 500.
Yeah, 510, so we're almost there. It ends tomorrow. So I highly recommend you pledge as soon as possible. Because it happens a lot that, oh, no, I thought it ended at 3 and it ended at 4. And then, oh, sorry, dude, it's closed.
Yeah, I know.
Because you didn't get the time zone right,
Yeah,
so,
no, you're completely right. So PUNKDROID, it's an anthology. It's 100 pages. It's going to be a hardcover, which is amazing because you don't get nice hardcovers anymore easily. There's 12 stories, 22 creators. Like you said, almost funded, a little over $500 to go. What's your elevator pitch for what this anthology is about? Because PUNKDROID, that could be anything.
to make it, as mentioned, elevator pitch as short as possible is Love, Death, and Robots meets Black Mirror.
Ooh, I like that.
That's PUNKDROID. So if you like Blade Runner, if you like Ghost in the Shell, if you like Akira, if you like The Matrix, if you like, I don't know, Philip K. Dick, if you like Necromancer, if you have anything related to cyberpunk, science fiction, this is your gig. This is it. This is your book. Because the price is very, very cheap for being hardcover for that page count. So we're giving a very, very, let's say it, sweet deal for the people who back the Kickstarter, because after the Kickstarter is gone tomorrow, the price is gonna be different. So I just said, and you have, because another thing I always tell people is like, it's not in the book. If you go to the page, there are like 60 things that are only gonna be like in the Kickstarter. So the t-shirt,
so the Kickstarter exclusive stuff.
The t-shirt, the tote bags, the original art, all that is just a Kickstarter. So, like, be a little bit, selfish. The digital things, because we normally don't sell any digital anything. So the digital perks are in the Kickstarter. So all that things, the sculptures, Kickstarter skulls exclusive. So there are a lot of things that are just gonna be in the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
so
and honestly, that's the fun to Kickstarter, because I know you mentioned to me before, but you guys are doing this Kickstarter now, and then after that, come May, June, you guys are going to actually still be releasing this book, but there won't be all these goodies with them.
Yeah, of course. Then after the Kickstarter is gone, it's just the book. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned too that the book is going to be released in Europe, like UK, Europe. But we're not sure about the States yet, obviously. So that's a whole other thing. If you're in the US and you want to try this out, you've got to do a Kickstarter, because otherwise there's no guarantee you can get the book easily.
Yeah, for sure. No, we have several of the artists are there in the US, and we even print in the US because we have 2 printers, one for Europe and one for the US. To avoid issues with costumes and things getting lost, and I didn't get my thing and all that. So that's out of the windows, because we print in the States and we print in New York. I think it's the printer where we have it, and it ships through the States. So yeah, people are still going to be able to get it, quite kind of easy, the book. But as I mentioned before, for example, the price is going to be different, and it's not going to be 25 anymore. It's going to be 30, for example, and you're not going to get any of the extra stuff at all. It's just the book.
Yeah. And I love like some of these rewards we're looking at here. These are like kind of once in a lifetime things. Like you can be a main character, which I don't think I've ever seen that as a reward for any Kickstarter. I see background character, I'll see supporting character, speaking character, but a main character, that's freaking cool, man. To say you can be a main character in a comic.
Yeah. The only thing we don't do, we're not going to change the story or stuff like that. So that's the only thing we tell people, hey, because sometimes we get backers, oh no, I have the idea for this. No. The story is the story.
You're this character and that's it.
That's it. Sorry about that. No, because there's another tier. If you have ideas, we can give you like a tailored comic, so we can make a comic for you with one of the and then you can pitch whatever idea you have in your mind. But the stories on the book, we're not gonna touch those, because that would be a high disrespect to the writers of the story. So we have this guy that he have a better pitch than you. It's like, what? No, that's weird. And especially because all the people in the anthology is people with a background, with experience, that have been published before, have been working for years in in Europe, in the States, in Japan. So this is like it's a huge group of heavy hitters, I always call them. So this is people that all of them know what they're doing. They've been doing it for years. So you have to be rest assured that the quality is. It's gonna be there. It's not only a visual quality, that's what I mentioned, the Love, Death, and Robot part, but also like a story-wise quality. So gonna be a lot of things, because I think that happens a lot lately in entertainment. That's something that we're trying to battle to a certain extent, is that you only see like shiny things, like shiny boxes or shiny Avatar, for example. It's a really clear example. It's a very shiny thing, very beautiful, very plastic, whatever you want to call it. But if you start to peel, or if you open the box, there's nothing in the box. Or there's a note that says, I owe you a story or something. That's so, or a napkin, or like half of a napkin, or the napkin got like broken, and there's like a piece of the napkin only inside the box. So we didn't want to do that. That's something that, as an editor and a head publisher of the anthology, I say, okay, we're not going to do that. Everybody else is doing that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to treat people like they were 5-year-olds. So we're going to tell them. And the thing is that the anthology is for 14 and up. So it's not like kids are not going to be able to enter that. Hey, it's very, methodic and very obscure topics. No. Nothing like that. The topics are AI, virtual reality. So the kids are even more into it. A lot of the people that we're writing about it. So, but the whole idea is, I always call the Pixar model, the good Pixar, before it was bought by Disney. When Pixar was appealing to kids, but the parents were the one that really enjoyed the thing, because they were seeing all the extra, all the perks, all the Easter eggs, all the reference. Oh, this is, and the kid doesn't really care about. Oh, it's cool, looks cool, it's a cool story, done. But the parents say, "Nah, okay, that's not it. This is a lot more than that."
Yeah. So this anthology, just make sure I understood. This is good for 14 and up, even though there's all these different topics. 14 and up is still completely appropriate, which I love that, because then it's something you can share with your middle schoolers, your teenagers, your young adults. But you as an adult are, like you said, still gonna get a ton out of it, even if some stuff is overlooked by the younger children.
Yeah, but no, because normally that's something we see in conventions, is the people who buy anthologies are parents for their kids, like to get them to read something, Say, read. Oh, you like comics? I'll buy you this, so read this, So,
that's a great point.
They don't want, there's no nudity on the book, there's no curse words, there's no, dark, heavy stuff on the book. There are themes that are complicated. We say 14 because if you do it probably I gave it to my niece. She's 12, and she got it perfectly. She loved the book, and so I think she passed the test. But we know that in the States it's a little bit more tricky. The rating is always a little bit higher than in Europe, and we don't want to, So that's what we do. So we say 14. Okay, 14 is now 12. 14 is, you're a teenager.
Yeah.
14, so all of this
is that's a ton. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense, especially because I was actually thinking that too. I was like, I know in Europe they're a little more comfortable with like nudity and certain things, and then we are in the States, which I think is kind of messed up on our part, but whatever. So that's really cool. I like that you it sounds like you found that happy medium, and your point earlier with anthologies and how a big selling point of those for comic books is parents buying them for their kids because they say, well, I know my kids like comics. I don't know what story they'll like. This has a bunch of things in it. They're going to like at least one or two. I'm getting it for them,
Yeah, for sure. That's the whole idea. The idea is they like. The idea of all anthologies, that's the beauty of anthologies, is like it has a story for everyone. So if you're more into like Alien, for example, one of the stories about like monsters in a ship, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, you're going to like that story. Or if you're more into, I don't know, dystopian futures, so you're going to like 2 or 3 of the story because they're about that. If you like more stuff like Mad Max, okay, you're going to have that. If you're more into, post-apocalyptic nuclear winter, you're going to have a story about that. If you're more into like simulations and virtual reality, there's a couple of stories about that. So you have a little bit for everyone. We wanted the book to be like a beautiful coffee book table that you can go back and reread or read a couple of stories. Or if you want to sit down and read all the story, okay, fantastic. But I want to that you reread and rediscover and you show it, that people say, oh yeah, I bought this, it's pretty cool, you should check it out. Because that's how a lot of the culture works nowadays. It's like if normally when you want to buy a book, you ask your friends or people you trust. You don't go to you don't go to the Barnes and Nobles or whatever to Amazon and say, hey, Amazon, recommend me something. You go to somebody you trust. So you have if you have a trusty shopkeeper or something like that, you go to this person. But if you don't have that, you go to your friends. Say, hey, well, recommend me something. So we have this. I highly recommend. Word to mouth. That's how thing works.
Yeah, completely. I mean, there are comics or books that I've looked at and been like, I'm not going to read that. I'm not interested. But then a friend told me later, by the way, that's really good. And I was like, oh, I guess I need to check it out. Like,
Because nowadays we live in an era. There's too much of everything. Yes. Entertainment-wise, I'm talking about. Okay. So it's very complicated to say, okay, what do I watch? What do I see? What do I, and especially if you don't, if you already see what is mainstream, let's call it. Okay, so what everybody's watching? Okay, I already watched this. Okay, what else? Or I already read this. Or what else? Or I already saw that. So what else? And then this what else? That's a big question nowadays. So where do I go? I go to Google. I ask my phone. So normally, people, especially my age, and I think even younger, you're gonna ask your peers, your friends. That's why you have them. It's like, hey, to contrast ideas so you can talk about stuff. And comics are very collective in that way. I remember back in the day when I was a little kid, that's how I read. I read first like my cousin's comics, and then she read mine, and then I went to my other cousin, and then we switched. Oh, I have this. Okay, me that. Blah blah blah. And then it was a whole, communism thing. Nobody owns anything. Everybody just trades. Like very medieval stuff. But I think that's how we still consume entertainment to a huge degree. It's like we have this. That's what influencers have a job mainly. It's because they say, hey guys, you trust me, I recommend you this, and then you say, okay, I trust this guy, so I'm gonna pay attention to what he's saying.
Yep, you are completely right there.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of trusting what people say, I am really excited and interested to hear about one of your favorite stories that's in this anthology, because I'm sure you love them all, but what's one of your favorites?
Wow. Okay. That's complicated because it's that like because I always say that and my wife gets mad at me because I say this. I always say that my books are like my kids. So it's very complicated to choose one. Or which one you like best. So my kids. I'm not gonna. That's horrible.
Right.
For the sake of the argument, I'm gonna divide that answer in 2 parts. So first, my favorite story that I wrote that I'm directly involved in,
Mhm.
I would like to say, the thing is that the artists are gonna kill me when they say, hey, why do you say that? Because it's like that. At the end of the day, it's like that. So I will say it's the urge,
Mhm.
because I knew Carlos' work, but I think he exceeded himself in the story.
Mhm.
Fantastic art,
That's
and the
awesome.
story is a complicated story to tell.
Mhm.
It's yeah, that one.
Mhm.
So it's so iconic. We use it's the only story that we use two panels for the video, for the presentation video, because I love it so much how he
Yeah.
did and how he used the script that I gave him, and okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this,
Mhm.
and it's like, wow, okay, cool, man, fantastic. My head's out to you. That doesn't say the other two are not good. The other two are really good too. Okay,
Yeah.
Claudio is doing redundant. That's my other story, and Sergio did the girl that want to be real. And
Mhm.
I don't want to dish their work, because they did
Of
fantastic job.
course.
So, but this one is because of that, because that element of surprise, because I know how Claudio works because I've been working for him for years,
Mhm.
and Sergio was a new guy we hired for Mexico, so I
Mhm.
kind of knew he was good because it was a reference from another friend of mine. So I recommend this is a good guy to work with. And
Mhm.
but Carlo was really surprised me. So that's answer A. And then the
Nice.
second answer will be when I'm not directly involved, that I
Mhm.
just got to see how it evolved.
Mhm.
That one I have to say is Eric's story, Eric Caravera, Princess Neon X, because first he
Mhm.
told me he gave me the pitch, and I said, this is gonna be a little bit complicated to pull off because the whole story, whole story is in Japanese.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he hosts
That's
that one.
wonderful.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
whole story is in Japanese, and the thing is that there's a twist that we cannot say anything about, and then the
Mhm.
language changes, and then then you say, okay, so now I get it.
Mhm.
But it's all like, because my idea is okay, how you gonna, because that story is 10 pages, so how you gonna maintain people's
Right.
attention language they don't know? That
Yeah.
was the key point for me, as an editor. And he showed me, no, we're gonna do it like this. I say, okay, fantastic, hands down. Again, I surrender. Yeah, good man, good. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to work with talent. It's just to give them
Mhm.
a couple of points. Okay, so A, B, C. This is more than points. I will say restrictions to a certain degree. Okay, so it's gonna
Mhm.
be X amount of pages. This is the theme. We don't want this, and that. And from there, take it away.
Yeah.
That's how I work with all of them. I just, hey, give me a pitch. I approve the pitch. You're off to go, off to the races. Just show me things as you do them. Normally we ask, like, especially people that we haven't or hasn't worked lately, or we haven't worked directly before. We ask them like a
Mhm.
sample page and stuff like that, mainly to see the timings and all that too. And
Mhm.
once that is approved, I don't. I'm out. I'm not one of those micromanagement
Mhm.
editors that have to be behind them. No. I
Yeah.
trust
I
you.
think
That's why I gave you the job, so go ahead, dude.
Yeah. I think you make a great point in terms of some restrictions help just to kind of get the creatives to think in the mindset that's needed, right? But it's just the basics of this main pages, this is kind of the theme or topic, if any, whatever, and then you let them go from there.
Yeah.
I think that's great because I think having no boundaries is unhelpful a lot of times to creatives because then there isn't a focus. But having too many boundaries is suffocating, and nobody wants
Yeah.
that. Nobody
And you
wants to
have like
suffocate.
a sweet spot, so not too much, not too little,
Mhm.
like something that people are comfortable working with, and that it makes sense because, as you mentioned, yeah, if they want to do, because for example, Eric told you, no, I can do this 40 pages. Yeah, but we don't have
Mhm.
time for 40 pages. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So we don't have the budget for making, instead of 120, making a 150 book, because that's more money on printing, blah blah blah, shipping, etc.
Mhm.
So no. Okay, keep it here, keep it tight, as we
Yep.
mentioned, and but from there, I'm gonna be cool with, I don't say with whatever you deliver, but because I know his work, so it's not like, hey, he's gonna forget how
Right.
to draw
Mhm.
from one day to the other. But yeah. So it was a beautiful thing to see, to see those pitches and then become pages and then become stories and become everything. Then the script finish and this is so all that is a beautiful work. That's what I love so much about editing is that you see the whole thing, like from the cradle to the grave, so everything, all the stuff, all the since it's in the head of the creator until he puts it on the page and then he twists it and then he refines it and then okay, it's ready to print and then you see the actual hopefully that's what we're going to do now. When you see and because we're working in two languages too, we're going to print him in Spanish and in English. Ooh, so we need to translate. Yeah, we need to translate and hope in Japanese, hopefully by the end of the year. So it's going to be three languages.
That's perfect, especially because you got that story in there.
Yeah, and hopefully next year in French. That's the fourth we want to publish, and because that's for me the most interesting markets there are in comics and manga. This is of course the Japanese market, the Anglo-Saxon market, and the French one.
Yeah,
and the Spanish, because a lot of the people involved in the anthology are Spanish, so we do it so a little bit out of pride to a certain degree, and it's also the second most spoken language in the world. So
yeah, absolutely. If you can translate it, why not? That just means you reach more people that can hopefully enjoy the stories. The more the merrier. Well, thank you so much, Christian, for taking your time to come on here. I know you are still highly focused on finishing up this campaign. Please feel free to share anything else you'd like about the campaign and plug yourself away where we can find you and Unpopular Tales Studio, who is publishing this, obviously.
Yeah, it's very easy. If you are outside Kickstarter, just punkdroid.eu. Punkdroid as it sounds, PUNKDROID, and then EU. So EU is EU. And if you are inside Kickstarter, it's just punkdroid. That's it. So it's very easy to find. We are in all the social media. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're in LinkedIn and Facebook, of course, Instagram, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. So you can find us anywhere. And I would highly recommend, as I mentioned before, not just for the book, but just to be a little bit selfish and get yourself something that is going to be the envy of all your peer group, because they're never going to see anywhere there. The book is going to be able to get it next week.
Yeah.
But the original pages, the t-shirts, the tote bags, a lot of those things, forget about it, because we only do 1 or 2 conventions in the US a year. So if you're not in that, a lot of those things, you're never going to see them again, ever in your life. So it's important that, this is the time to buy original page. It's one of a kind. There's nothing in the world like that that's going to be published. It's for collectors, stuff like that, or buy the beautiful sculpture that we have, or buy the t-shirts that we have, because we don't do merchandising normally after the campaigns are over. We just the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Those of you guys watching this later, I'll be sure to drop the links in the description below, so you can just do a couple clicks and you'll buy some really amazing stuff that literally nobody has. So who can top that? Absolutely nobody. Christian can't top that. I can't top it, but you can. You can do it.
You can contribute, because we know that, because it's something that I've seen. Because it's not the first campaign I run. This one is being more complicated to get the funding. So because people are struggling, sadly, that's the reality. It's not marketing stuff, because we have all the targets that are met of visibility and things of people clicking and people seeing. So we have reward from $5. From $5 you can get the pack of stickers, or for 10 you can get the anthology, 110 pages in your phone or in your tablet or whatever. That's a lot of entertainment for $10,
Yeah, it is. It's a hell of a deal. And I've been seeing a lot of that with campaigns, but I don't think I've seen a anthology of 110 pages for $10. You really can't beat that. So, again, thanks for coming on, Christian. I am super excited for everybody to see this, to get it, whether it's through the Kickstarter or otherwise. Hopefully it's all through Kickstarter, though, of course, right now. And those of you guys watching at home, be sure again to check out the links below. I'll have the link to the Kickstarter, all the Christian mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have that all set up so you can just below, get everything you need. And we'll see you guys next time in the nerdy neighborhood.